Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia, LA. My voice sounds a little funny. It's because I got a little cold happening. But I think my buddy Frankie's gonna help me out with that. You guys have seen, we've shot his white bubble top Bel Air, and we've also shot his crazy Grand National. Well, today he brought over his new tow vehicle. That's right, this is his tow vehicle. This is a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. If you guys haven't heard about it, this is the Jeep with the Hellcat motor in it, making 707 horsepower, about 645, 650 foot-pounds of torque. Just can't wait to get into this. I mean, this is one of the most exciting new cars out on the market right now. And I'm guessing we're gonna probably get to see what launch mode's all about. So hold on, man, because here we go. All right, you guys, here we go for a cruise in Frankie's Trackhawk. You guys remember my friend Frankie with the crazy bubble top and the ridiculously crazy Grand National?
This is my first non-GM American car that I've owned. My friend Jeff told me about this thing. We're actually at the track at Famosa in Bakersfield. And he's like, that's the car you need to get. That's your daily driver. I'm like, what, that Jeep, that SRT8? He's like, no. It's not an SRT8.
Right.
It's a Trackhawk.
Right.
Like, dude, what's a Trackhawk? So anyway, we go look at it. I'm like, oh, this has a Hellcat motor?
Right.
And you can tow with it? He's like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, like 72 or 7,300 pound capacity of towing, I was reading.
I think it's 75, but it's like, I mean, I only tow my car and my trailer, which is like, 4,000 or 5,000 pounds total.
Right.
I'm like, what does it run? He's like, dude, they run 11. So I'm like, no way.
Yeah. I mean, you got 707 horsepower. It's like, what, 645, 650 torque, somewhere around there?
Yeah. I mean,
Bone stock.
Bone stock. And literally, when you launch this thing in launch control, it's just like a missile. It just takes off.
Yeah, I was reading it's like 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, dude, that's beating a lot of performance cars.
For sure.
You know?
And then at the end of the day, it's a Jeep. So, like, you can debadge this thing, which I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And it's just going to look like a Jeep.
It's just like a nice Grand Cherokee, that's it.
Yeah. And then the interior, yeah, they just did an incredible job. I mean, all the stitching and all the leather work is just, especially for a Jeep, is really nice.
No, this thing's beautiful. And I noticed, like, it has heated and AC rear seats, which is
most cars
cool.
don't even have that.
No.
In the rear seats. And they actually recline, too, for a rear seat. I just noticed that yesterday. I had some stuff in the back, and I'm like, wow, these rear seats recline. So they really did a nice job. The stereo system's amazing.
Yeah, I noticed it's Harman Kardon, so you got killer speakers.
It's amazing.
And it sounds like you wouldn't have to really beef up much else by adding power, because the transmission, I was reading, is rated up to, like, what was it, 900 horsepower or something like that? So it can handle putting more power down rather than, obviously having to deal with a bunch of mechanical stuff on top of just adding power.
For sure. The cool thing about this thing, too, it's like the tunability is amazing. This thing comes stock with wideband O2 sensors, which 99.9% of stock vehicles come with narrow band, which is like a more conventional O2 sensor. So with the wide bands on this thing, it has the ability to detect like ethanol content. They have like basically a way of formulating it through the stock ECU, which they can detect ethanol content. So like a lot of the cars that you put on flex fuel have to have ethanol or flex fuel sensor.
Right.
With this thing, it actually has a way of just telling how much ethanol content is in the fuel. So converting it to E85 seems like a pretty simple thing to do once you're able to get into the computer and do your thing to it.
Wow.
So that's a pretty cool feature. I mean, I don't know of many cars that have wide bands from the factory.
Right.
It's very, very rare.
I mean, let's be honest, like, not that I don't love overkill, but when do you ever need 707 horsepower in a friggin' SUV?
I mean, you need it all the time. You never know when you need to get out of trouble. I want to put a smile on my daughter's face, and she likes, she likes the feeling of G-force.
Right.
I definitely keep it within the speed limits with her.
Sounds like it's massive brakes. I mean, 6-piston front, 4-piston rear with like a 17-inch rotor, I think, up front or something like that.
I mean, it's pretty big. I think it's a 15
Maybe
inch.
15.
But it stops on a dime. It's definitely a little bit getting used to. You know, I've never really owned an SUV where I've driven it a lot.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's a 5,000-pound SUV.
Yeah,
so,
right.
You know, you can do everything you want to it, but at the end of the day, it's a 5,000-pound SUV.
Yep.
So
I love, too, the exterior on this thing. I think, you know, other than the Trackhawk badge and a couple of little things that I read about to kind of tell the difference, it just looks like a Jeep. You have this nice, elegant-looking Jeep with that much power.
it's pretty cool.
I mean, it seems like kind of the perfect SUV, to tell you the truth. All right, you guys, well, what do you think? Pretty badass, right? I mean, can you imagine you've got this SUV, right? I mean, look at it. It's pretty understated. This is not a showy vehicle in any stretch whatsoever. And yet we've got 707 horsepower. The launch mode is just outrageous. I mean, this thing's 3.5 seconds, 0 to 60. That's hauling ass for a 5,200-pound vehicle. I mean, it's just outrageous. The styling, everything about this, I'm really knocked out. And what a killer daily drive vehicle for Frankie, moving from a diesel Denali to this. I mean, just stoked for him. And I'm thrilled that we got to take this for a ride, get you guys some of the details, get you up to speed on what the Trackhawk's all about. But as always, you guys, thanks for hanging and watching and supporting what we're up to over here. I truly do appreciate it. And I will see you in the next episode. All right, man. Later.